in this fray, but their roles changed because Sarojini, she kept on taking active part in Indian politics, and she had the blessing. She was a front runner. She was in the first rank of Indian statesmen, Indian leaders who were fighting for the cause of Ma Bharati, or India as we call her. So she served in both capacity because she started as a leader, and then she had a beautiful voice also. She she had a melodious voice, and she was named as the Nightingale of India because of her sweet melodious voice. So Sarojini, she she was fond of using highly ornate words. As she sang beautifully, so she composed beautifully. And here in this poem, in Songs of Radha, she has given expression to her beautiful thoughts in such an exquisite manner that we simply, admire her for her poetical acumen. Now, if we see, she started, she starts this poem with this word, foolish love. You see, because love is not mature. Now, love is of many kinds. Love can be the highest kind of love is platonic love, where you admire or you love your the counterpart. Uh, it's kind of ideal love. But here, that kind of love is not there. It is a love of teenagers. I would like to call it teenagers because Krishna and Radha, they are they like the company of each other, and when they have entered in their teens. eh, I have heard somewhere that, and I read also, that actually Radha was not of the age of Krishna. She was quite elder to Krishna, and her love was elderly. But she certainly enjoyed the company of Krishna, and she also calls him Kanhaiya. She addresses him with different names in this poem. If you have a look at this poem, at different places, we have different names for Kanhaiya. When she starts, she considers her love as foolish. She says that our love is not mature because we are not mature lovers. We are still in the teens, and there the real love is found in teens only. That where you want to love your this the better half, in any manner you like, just as we play. So he's like a playmate. They are from morning till evening. They keep on roaming at different places together, and they don't find they feel restless without each other's company. So when she starts her journey, it is morning time. It is the time is dawn, DAWN. And from language point of view, if you look at this poem, the poetess, she uses highly beautiful, highly ornate words. She doesn't use morning because morning appears common. So she uses a heavy word, a beautiful word, an exquisite word, and that is dawn, DAWN. Again, if you see, there are five elements in nature. as we see, as we say that there are panch tattvas. So five elements, five basic elements. So she starts asking the first element, and this prevalent element is wind, because in the morning time the wind is moving, the wind is blowing with great speed, and it appears as if it is crying. So Radha, she addresses this wind as crying o wind. So this use of crying o, it makes this line somewhat special. Now when we move ahead again, you see noonrise comes, forest glade. Now glade means shining, but here shining appears quite a common word, and glade means it's a heavy word, and you have to apply your mind, you have to know, you have to consult a dictionary, you have to put pressure on your brains, and there emerges the beauty of language here. So from that angle also, this poem is great. If you look from any other angle, from love side, this is a story of not mature love, it's a story of immature love and foolish love, as Radha says. Now the very thing which happens in the fifth line is dusk, because poem is yet to go, but dusk comes here, and the poetess gives this impression that from morning till evening I kept on searching for Krishna, but he is not found anywhere. And then from the fourth couplet, or from the seventh line onwards, you see the repetition of dumb were the water, the woods, the wind. See the effect of sound. This sound effect also, the poetess has made use of different figures of speech, alliteration, assonance, and whatnot. So this dumb were the waters, dumb the woods, the wind. See the echoing of this dumb here. We while going through Sarojini, we have to be very alert, because the expressions are of that nature, the words are of that degree, and then she says that I am not able to find anywhere. And when she gets fatigued, now she surrenders. Now this feeling of surrendering, how Sarojini explains this feeling of surrender or the fatigueness, and she simply uses this word bow, bow. Now bow is such a word which is used in kingly style. They, when kings approach, when some great grand person is approaching, we have to bow before him or her. Here Radha is bowing her weeping face upon her palm. Now the use of this word bow in ninth line is somewhat uncommon. It's not a common usage of language, because bow and arrow, as we say, then bowing. So here this is uncommon use of language, and Sarojini Naidu, she seems to be an expert in the use of language. Like, then we have to observe that when in the second line, before wind, it was crying O. Now in this 10th line, it is moaning O. From crying O, we have come to moaning O, because crying means loud, it gives a sensation of loudness. She was practically crying because she was full of energy. It was morning time. Hmm? And now, when she is tired, when she has surrendered, her cry has given away to moaning and sobbing because she is not in a position to make bitter cries. She is totally faded out. And then when she has surrendered nearly, so there is yet another feeling that you keep on searching God, but He is not available, He is not seen, you cannot find Him. But when we surrender, that now I am at your behest, you please help me. And then He says, okay, now I am there to protect you. So, in the same fashion, Radhaji, when she, she has started mourning, and then after that, in 11th line, the action comes. Then, like a boat that rocks from keel to raft, you see, the speeding up. The action comes in the poem, and with the help of alliteration, like a boat that rocks from keel to raft. And I the as Radhaji she starts feeling. So this line applies to all of us also, that when we are tired of searching God, then God appears. As God appears in the heart of Radhaji. And this laughter is not heard. This is a hidden laughter. We can just assume, we can just listen to the hidden laughter. So it has got another layer also, and this multi-layered poem, this is going, if you, this is the specialty about this poem, that there are layers after layers, and because of that only it has become a great poem, because a great piece of literature is that which is not restricted to only one layer. For example, here poetess Sarojini Naidu, she is seeking God's help. Actually, she is seeking for God, but she is doing it through the persona of Radhaji. And here, if we apply this theory to all of us, if we apply this theory to our minds, our minds again, this condition applies to all of us also, because in this world, since the day when we take birth until the day when we die, we are in the quest of God, because we always feel that something is going on in the world which is beyond our explanations, which is beyond our capacities, where we don't have any kind of control, and we are not able to locate God. We keep on crying, we keep on mourning, we keep on sobbing, as Radhaji here doing. But ultimately, as Radha says in line number 14th, the same condition applies to us also, like nectar bubbling from my own heart's chalice. So here, this feeling that God is with us, this feeling of divine help, it appears through a sensation. And what is the sensation? That this is like that simile, that my heart is like a well, and through this well, so the drops of nectar, they are oozing out, they are coming out, they are bubbling. So here the poetess has made a beautiful use of this word bubbling, because bubbling gives a warm sensation. a warmer sensation. When the feelings are warm, so it gives a bubbling sensation. And then again, when we are not able to see, when we are not, we are we feel God, but we are not able to see, and then we call him by different names that Radha is doing, that you are sadist, you are enjoying my status, my plight, you are faithless because I have put everything on you and you are not helping me. So the same sensation is with Radha ji, and in broader sense it applies to all of us when we seek godly intervention in our worldly affairs. So we have to keep in mind that God always helps those who help themselves, and God resides in our own hearts, and it acts on such principles that as you expect God to be to you, so you also behave in the same manner to others. And on this principle, this this nature is moving. So Radha ji, through these natural things like wind, water, flowering dell, so by use of these words, Radha ji, and in fact Sarojini Naidu, she makes use of brilliant similes, metaphors, figures of speech, and the concluding lines, which are by Lord himself, and he tells his trade secret, he tells his secret that don't look for me in the world because I am there in your heart. So, so we have to keep this thing in mind, that we should always live happily in the company of God, and that we can only achieve only when we are innocent in life, when we have not committed any kind of crime. So Radha ji, she ends